Okay, season finale. Let's see if all the build-up and plot points line up nice and neat. I say like I didn't watch the episode super freaking early this morning like a madman and is clearly being sarcastic, cause none of that happens. And we get another MLP Friendship is Magic ending. And not even the songs could make me feel better about it. Anywho, like I said in my last video, I'm just gonna give my first impressions and a few notes on things I noticed for episodes 7 and 8. So spoilers, obviously. Also, I noticed the episodes were slightly longer this time around. And man, did a lot of you think that was gonna help. Also, I should mention, this is probably the first time a show or animated show has been this off time-wise for each episode. It is really unheard of for most episodes to be different lengths of time. Like, it does happen occasionally, but not for an entire season. And it's so weird to me because if season 1 was so popular to the point we've got mountains of merch to fill every pothole in America, then why not ask for every episode to be a solid 30 minutes? Plus, I mean, apparently Amazon did offer that to Viv back during season 1, so why not take it? I mean, obviously there's probably a million reasons why, but it just makes no sense to me. Anyway, I'm tired and just want to sleep, so let's get this over with, shall we? So we pick up where we left off, and off topic, sorry, but how many days has it been now? The timeline this season is hella confusing. Anyway, Lucifer shows up to where Vox, pretending to be Charlie, said to go, and gets trapped into being Vox's weapon's power source. We get a quick back and forth / sprinkle of fan service of Lucifer and Alastor, but Vox interrupts and does his whole evil monologue. We also learn Lucifer doesn't know if he and Lilith are still married. Also, how come no one thinks she's dead? Like, why does everyone assume she's still alive? Plus, why didn't Lucifer like hire a private investigator to like find her? Anyway, Lucifer makes some big points about sinners and calls Vox a failure, which we flash step into the next song and Vox's living backstory, which, wow, crazy how we got Vox's life backstory and his death, his backstory with Alastor, and his current story arc all in one season. Yet we got like nothing from the main cast other than Alastor or Serpentious. Also, Vaggie doesn't count because they just reshowed the same thing. Anyway, the song and Vox's backstory is kind of fun. I like that his reason for killing was to be, in a sense, a star and someone people listened to, and I love that his death has a big connection to his demon form, which I will talk about later. Anyway, we move on to Charlie trying to get a hold of Lucifer, but he's not picking up, and Vaggie suggests it could be because of how hard she was on him, but any attempt to find him is thrown out the door with a broadcast from Vox where Angel Dust speaks about that everything going on at the hotel is a joke and that the only way to save themselves is by fighting back with the V's. Also, I gotta say, I really love this outfit for Velvet. It really should be her main outfit. Anyway, Vox says the same speech about sinners dying and reveals his weapon, and everyone at the hotel gets worried, and Charlie says that they're too late. Anyway, Vox decides to use the weapon, which, like, he better be glad it actually worked, since this is something that's never been built before and had, like, 0 testing. But he shoots the thing, and it breaks the barrier around heaven and knocks the gates off of heaven, down to hell. And somehow, Vox is able to send a message to heaven, which in just a few minutes Baxter is just gonna walk all over, because apparently Vox has been able to steal, in a sense, heaven's cable and / Wi-Fi in a sense, and Earth, but heaven for some reason can't send a broadcast back. Also, someone mentioned previously in a comment that why can't the angels just use the same hologram tech that they used for the meeting with Charlie and Adam? Like, Anyway, the message freaks Heaven out, and Sarah lets out a crazy scream, which I just love so much. Back at the hotel, everyone decides that they need to lock down the hotel, as there's no way Heaven isn't going to attack them now. Heaven is still freaking out, and Emily, Lute, and Abel are all overwhelming Sarah on what to do, and she goes to pray about everything. Meanwhile, Emily and Lute continue to argue, and while I have no idea what points they made prior to this, because I couldn't hear what they were saying, Abel does his best to point out they both have good points, which, like, thank you, Abel, because weirdly enough they do, but are too focused on one solution. Anyway, Sir P checks on Sarah and asks if she needs assistance, and she goes off on him about being assistance to a seraphim, which, like, did she kind of forget the last episode where he did try to help her as well? But she asks if he can even grasp what she is and what she's going through, but Serpentious, ever the goat, says that she's someone who just might need a friend to talk to, and this gets Sarah to open up about how heaven and hell were set in stone on how it works, worked and that something like redemption wasn't supposed to be possible, but that Sir P changes that and makes her doubt everything, and now she doesn't know what to do or how to move forward with a decision. But I do want to make like a weird stop here, because Sarah keeps saying judge and very specifically says, how do I know who to judge? But like, why does she think her judgment has any weight in redemption when they don't even decide who gets into heaven? The soul just arrives. Sir P has proved this. Like, again, I don't think it's up to Sarah, and I really wish she would recognize that. Plus, again, she still didn't know redemption was possible, so like, she's really focusing too hard on the wrong thing, but she does bring it back by saying, how can humans have enough goodness to be redeemed, yet still do something so vile, which like, pot meat kettle. But Sir P tells her humans are scared, to which Sarah says, what? Which I guess makes sense for her, since the only time she's really seen demons is when they weren't actively scared in front of her. But anyway, we get the second song. I actually kind of love it. I mean, obviously I have a weird love for It Starts With Sorry and Penches, but I did find the song very charming and pretty fun to see characters that haven't had a full interaction kind of get each other. Plus the whole humans are naturally afraid part is so true. Like, we don't have proof of anything, but I did dip a bit when he was kind of excusing some of the bad behavior on being afraid. Like, that's a gray area, but still good song though. And I might be overthinking, but Sarah makes a comment about how he didn't fall to wickedness when fighting Adam, but like, he did attempt to possibly harm or kill him, and obviously Serpentches knew he could possibly die from doing what he did. Like, it wasn't like he jumped in front of the shot to protect Cherry, so it's all really a big gray area on that. Anyway, we cut to Vox feeling good and Velvet calling to tell him they still need more people's support to take on Heaven, and like, in the next episode this is going to be important and I'm going to talk about it. Anyway, Vox tells her not to worry about that, and then he wants her to set up a party for tomorrow, and Alastor eggs him on to separate more from the V's and sprinkling what his plan is to break his contracts, which I'll get to later, but he suggests inviting Charlie to the party and he falls for it. Back at Heaven, Sarah comes back and tells Lute to get the troops ready, but to keep them on standby, as she's willing to give Emily time to go down to hell and stop the war from happening, and that she believes she can do it. We then cut to the hotel and Vaggie and Cass getting the hotel secured for the war. Husk and Cherry are still holding hope Angel will come back, and Charlie is still trying to call her mom like she's gonna answer, but Vox calls her and Charlie answers. He then invites her to the party and says Lucifer will be there, to which she agrees to go. Also, she calls Vox a monster, but in the next episode she smiles at Val and Velvet, which I will get to later. After the call ends, Vaggie says she can't just walk into V Tower, and Charlie makes the point if there is one chance to fix what's happening, she will, and that it's not like any other solution is falling out of the sky, and in drops Emily, which, very good joke, not gonna lie. Anyway, Emily does a quick rundown of what's going on and that she's here to help, but Vaggie and Charlie say it's too late and that words aren't enough and that proof is all sinners want. Emily says then we will show them the proof. Vox was able to get a broadcast to Heaven, surely Heaven can do the same, to which Vaxter drops the info. Vox Tex has been pirating Heaven's cable and Earth's for years, and that he designed the security system, which, like, again, dude is in 4K saying he prefers bioscience. What do you mean you built an entire network that takes cable from Earth and Heaven? Also, how? He says the security is a joke, but that the technology is too alien to send signals down to hell. Just use the frickin' hologram tech. Anyway, Charlie asks if he's okay with helping and possibly losing his job and life, to which he says yes, and only because they folded his blankets the way he likes, assuming that made them best friends, which, you know what? I will take it. But it would have been cute if he also mentioned Nifty. Anyway, due to Heaven not being able to send a broadcast down, they have Serpentches make something to do it. And with that setup, Vaggie says they might have a chance and that it'll be dangerous, and asks if they're all in, and we get a fun joke from Rooster, who, yes, I've noticed staying at the hotel, but it was funny that Charlie had zero idea who he was, and we get the last song of the episode, and it's pretty good. I like that it's all connected to every character getting ready for tomorrow, though the Val part, I do not care for. Like, no, you're not gonna make me feel bad for the abuser and his messed up love life. No, it's not happening. And boy, did I think Lute was gonna do something this season. Like, why give her such a banger and bring it back in this mismatch and still have her do nothing? And Abel's here too. But man, is Sarah's part so good. But did she... No, like, is this implying she knew about Vaggie's so-called fall? Okay. And the episode is over. Let's get to the next one, because... Okay, the episode starts with a quick rundown on what they're going to do at the party. Charlie and Vaggie will go to the party, the others will sneak into Vox Tech, so Baxter can help broadcaster Penchus is in heaven, and Husk and Cherry will go off to look for angel dust, and Charlie mentions that they should break his hypnosis with the power of friendship, and I'm like, I know we see Angel's eyes do the thing, but there is no way that she saw that and figured out he was being mind controlled, and I will explain later. Anyway, the rest of the plan has Emily and Charlie doing their thing, and while that's happening, Vaggie will take care of the gun somehow. Also, while this is happening, the animation style is different and I love it. It's so cute. Anyway, we jump to the party and what the fuck are they wearing? I mean, don't get me wrong, Charlie's is cute, though the bow tie has got to go. And I just wish her pants were a different color, because boy did I think something awful. And Vaggie is just... why? What is this half jacket dress thing and frickin' bow and feathers in her hair that matches nothing? She looks... Anyway, Vox greets the girls. Also, his outfit is so good. Hands down should have been his main look. It's still of his time period, but with an update, though he needs a longer vest. Anyway, Charlie asks where her dad is, and he says around, but mentions she brought an angel as a date, which I know that probably due to Angel, he knows that Vaggie is an angel, but he looks at Vaggie like it just hit him she's an angel. Anyway, he's excited she's there and that he's taking Heaven tomorrow. Charlie goes to talk to Alastor, but is made to sit next to Vox, and shown a slideshow of all her failings / best moments. Vaggie speaks to Carmilla about how to stop the weapon, and that even if Vox does take over Heaven, he'd still have the weapon, and how long will it be till he turns it on her and her girls. And by now I'm sure Carmilla is just done with people trying to pull this "what about your daughters" stick with her, as she refuses to help, leaving Vaggie to go off on her own. While everyone is distracted, the rest of the cast make it into the tower, and Baxter disables every camera, but we get a nice hint that that's not true. Husk and Cherry go off to get Angel and find him passed out on the couch, and clearly had gone on a bender with Val. Baxter hacks the system, and Vox's hollow screens show he's been hacked. Charlie takes the opportunity to take over and speak about Sir Penchus, all while Vox is trying to get back control, but Baxter is able to mute him, which I am so confused about Vox sometimes. He's clearly a TV and meant to be more into TV stuff, yet they add in a lot of computer stuff with him. Like, yeah, he could be a smart TV, but even a smart TV needs a remote. Also, no, I don't think he's a monitor, as they have completely different settings and internal hardwire. Anyway, while all that's happening, Vaggie is trying to break the gun and lifts a panel and finds Lucifer. Yay! She asks him what he's attached to. He obviously has no idea, but she says she'll figure out how to get him out. Charlie gets to the end of her speech saying she can prove Sir P is in heaven, and Emily tells Baxter and Sir P it's go time. But before Baxter can do anything, Velvet pops up and we get a pretty epic fight scene between Nifty and Velvet. And poor Charlie is just hit with another L when the connection doesn't go through. Meanwhile, Cherry and Husk are trying to wake Angel, and then Val appears and another fight kicks off. We jump to Charlie trying to tell the sinners she isn't lying, and Vox takes over the situation in his favor after hypnotizing everyone during Emily and Charlie's speech, which that was crazy fast because Charlie didn't even look away or blink long enough to be like, huh? Plus she asks why they're looking at her like that, and that is why I have a hard time understanding why she just knew Angel was mind controlled, but can't seem to connect that dot with the other sinners. Anyway, Baxter is too distracted to remember to do his job, but gets back to it after hearing Charlie. Velvet is surprised by Nifty's abilities, and we get a fight transition to Husk and Cherry. And we get Cherry versus the Fizzbot and Husk versus Al, which, the fight choreography could have been better, though I do like the really small spots where the animation is super clean. Meanwhile, Vox talks down to Charlie, saying her mother would be disgusted with how she's become a weak failure, and he wants her to say it to all of Pentagram City on camera that she lost and that he's the most powerful sinner, and obviously she refuses, but Alastor does his best to get her to say it, to which if I was Vox, I'd be really iffy about this whole thing that Alastor is doing, even if he's being a dick about it. But Charlie asks why, and we see the favor she owes him kicks in when he forces her to say it, to which once she does, Vox for some reason just levels up like crazy and like How? How is this something that happens? I thought power levels were based on the amount of contracts. How does Charlie just saying he's the most powerful sinner make him the most powerful? It makes no sense, world building wise. This breaks Alastor's contract with Rosie. Plus, again, the whole power thing, why does Charlie saying it make it true when we're, again, led to believe contracts make a demon powerful? Make it make sense. Anyway, Vox thanks Charlie and he touches her shoulders, which breaks the other contract Alastor has with Vox, due to Vox assuming he meant not to hurt her. But no, he meant not to touch her for real. Anyway, now that Alastor is free on all fronts, he and Vox start duking it out, and the fight scene is pretty good. Though I do kind of miss Vox flash stepping, so to speak. But we get a look at Vox's full demon form, and it's pretty cool. The fight is pretty epic, but we cut over to Husk and Cherry still fighting Val, and Husk drops lore about how Val's eyes are really bad, and due to that, I find it really weird that Val's weapons of choice are guns. No wonder he misses so much, but Cherry throws a bomb at him that blinds him, and yeah, okay, fine, whatever. That's not... They didn't really utilize him having bad eyesight, but Husk gets Val tied up and Cherry beats him down, and Val calls Angel to help him out, which he does, still not completely out of his haze, and attacks Cherry and chokes her till Husk punches him, waking him up, and he apologizes, realizing what he's done, and Val gets free, but Husk is able to stop him, and Val gets blown up! But unfortunately lives, having landed in a mess of wires. Anyway, Vox and Al are still fighting, and Vox calls his shark, Sharkwave, to come help him. Unfortunately, the shark smacks Vox back at V Tower, and Vox gets the bright idea to start firing the gun around the city in order to hit Alastor, killing sinners who are still hypnotized, mind you. Emily and Charlie see the carnage and go to help the sinners. Carmilla sees that Vaggie and Charlie told the truth about the angels and goes to help stop the gun, and Nifty finally defeats Velvet after Baxter is able to hack her phone/powers, and Nifty kicks her out the window. She explodes into doll parts, and it's pretty cool to see how she pulls herself back together. Anyway, right as Baxter is about to get the broadcast started, Vox's gun destroys the laptop and most of the tower, forcing Sir P to make something strong enough to send a signal down. Meanwhile, Carmilla and Vaggie are able to stop the gun, and we see Vox's ratings have gone way down due to what he's done. And again, I don't get why that's important or how it's relevant to his powers, but he hijacks the gun and keeps trying to hit Alastor, and he almost does till Emily pushes him out of the way, which, girl, no. But one of Emily's wings gets fried, and Sarah sends Lute and Abel to go get her, while Sir P promises he can get the broadcast going. Meanwhile, Emily and Alastor seem to have dropped right in front of the gun, which, okay. But Vox says he doesn't care about heaven anymore and plans to kill all of them, and Carmilla says the gun will overload the weapon and kill half the city. Vox at this point does not care, and all he wants is to kill Alastor, like, dude, let it go. But Velvet dropkicks him off the gun, and Val rips Vox's head clean off his body, stating he's not going to kill everyone for the stupid deer, and that they're leaving, but can't due to Val's wings being burned. But they run off anyway. Charlie wants to get everyone to safety, but they don't have enough time. Emily walks up to the weapon and stares at it, and at this point, you know, this would be a great time for Vaggie to, I don't know, tell Charlie her dad's in that thing. But Emily blasts bubbles at it, and we get the final song, and it's I'm not sure. It's not horrible, but it's not like a banger. But the song and everyone blasting power beams is giving MLP Friendship is Magic, which, look, I'm not against the power of friendship, but like, it makes the whole situation feel childish, especially with the weird song break when Lute and Abel show up. Also, Overlord Nifty confirmed, but the Abel arc sure came out of nowhere, where he's too scared to act as the new head like his dad, and like, I know in previous episodes he stated that he'd like, did not want to do the war and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, that had nothing to do with Adam specifically. This specific song has everything to do with Adam, so it's like these two things look the same but they're separate. But Abel asks himself what his dad would do and channels him a bit and tells Lute to stand down, and my god, she does. I'm so sorry, Gravity, you were too good for this world. But they leave and Emily is too weak to go on, but Carmilla and the other overlords decide to help due to the cast's compassion and willingness to risk their lives. And while that's happening, Rosie shows up to scold Alastor for what he did and asks for him to help, and he says he doesn't work for free free, and Rosie refuses to reward him for what he's done. He says she'll just have to watch them die then, unless she does, and she calls him a demon, which I find so funny that sinners are considered demons when we have actual bio-demons running around. Anyway, all he wants is for her to fix his staff, which I just don't get why he can't do that. But Rosie smiles and does it anyway, and they both help, and the barrier is sealed. So what happens next didn't need to happen. Velvet and Val did not need to join in, and Charlie did not need to be smiling at them like that. Okay, maybe she's smiling only at Velvet, but fuck is it weird to see her smiling at them like that. Specifically Val! Plus, it would have been nice if it was only Velvet. Show she's only doing it to spin it later, which she does do, but instead of Val being the hero, it's her. She's the closest to powers similar to Vox and smarter than him. Why can't she be the new face? Anyway, they rainbow the gun away, and the overlords agree to never speak about this again and walk away. And oh, look at that! Lucifer's okay! Good thing everyone knew that would happen, right? Right? Anyway, Sir P gets the broadcast working and proves redemption is possible, and hands down, I could care less about the cherry snake going on in front of me because of how cute Nifty and Baxter are. Aww. And while Charlie and everyone decompresses and speaks to sinners, the V's just walk back to the tower. Like, hello? No, Vaggie, go kill them or put them in jail. We know hell has one. Sure, it's in the other rings, but I'm sure the other sins would be more than happy to make one in pride. And again, Vox tries to talk his way out of what happened, but yeah, Val and Velvet are done and ignore him. But while they walk off, Angel spots Val and starts to head back to the tower and doesn't trust himself anymore since he's been ratting out on the hotel for so long and that he didn't have a choice when he was choking Cherry. He tells them he's sorry, but to forget him, and walks off. And they let him, and I get why, but Cherry says he'll be back, and we get a quick time jump ahead, where the hotel is full again for the right reasons, and Charlie makes Vaggie the assistant manager, and her new name is Vaggie. But without the E, which, yeah, saw that coming. Also, Alastor is back, which, okay, thought the whole point of breaking the contract was so he could leave, but I guess he wants that Lucifer cookie. Obviously, he's only there to either kill Lucifer or make a deal with him to get his power, but time will only tell. Vox is also still in trouble, but now Val is considered like the hero of the day and possibly the head of Vox Tech, which... no, it should have been Velvet. Husk and Cherry are still sad about Angel, and now Emily is allowed to visit the hotel and, you know, bring gifts back and forth. And she brings a letter to Sir P, and we see Lute is still struggling, and we even see the Adam hallucinations are still there. And as Sir P runs off to read his letter, she flies off too, and I think her flying off could be the reason for that. Right after the end of Charlie's call with Lilith calls her back, and the episode ends. Okay, final thoughts, and I have a lot, because these two episodes just added so many more questions about the characters. But my main summary is this season should have been season 1 and been a cliffhanger for season 2 / season 1 on the war with Adam and Lute. Then have season 3 kick off with all the Lilith and Lute / Abel stuff, and still keep that redemption is possible a secret, since this show is going to be like 4 seasons long. Like, the premise of the show was answered and done so fast, and now it's clear we're moving on to something else completely, which I am completely fine with a secondary story point, but the premise should still be the main focus. And unfortunately, in this season, it wasn't. Like, yes, they kept saying that redemption is possible, but we did not spend any time at the hotel on the characters that are supposed to make redemption possible. We spent so much more time with Vox than any of the main cast combined. Anyway, another point of mine is even with Alastor free, he's still got his ass kicked multiple times and by a flying shark. So the aura he had is long gone for me. You know what? It left my body the minute he said the F word to Lucifer. I was done. Vaggie's name change was meaningless, and I have a feeling no one's gonna remember it. Okay, the power beams were silly to me. Like, for Charlie and Emily, it makes sense, but the Overlord's power beams just made me laugh and really confused. And I already talked about the MLP vibes, so yeah, I'm not entirely sure what could have been done differently, but I seriously wish Vaggie had said something about how Lucifer was down there and being used to power the thing. He's never brought up, and it's so like, how do you not tell your significant other that their father is trapped under the floorboards powering the thing that's about to blow? I'd be so pissed. Oh, also gravity was just wasted. If loot was going to do nothing, then it should have been saved for season 3. And don't say Stayed Gone was used in season 1 and Vox did stuff in season 2, cause no, after Stayed Gone, Vox actually did something by sending Sir P to the hotel, and while we don't see it or really get hints to it, he also manages to mind control Angel in the same season. So he had a start for the impact to come next season. Lute didn't. She was stopped before she even got to do anything. And don't bring up Lilith, because again, she was stopped. She was told to talk to Lilith. So yeah, gravity was done dirty. And Lute just feels like a really hollow character now. I did like that Emily and Charlie helped the sinners during Vox's meltdown, though I seriously wish Charlie would recognize that this wouldn't have happened if Alastor didn't start the fight. But still, it was a nice way to show the city they could trust her and the angels. Obviously, Baxter was so great, even though he didn't get an ounce of screen time till the very end, which, again, he probably should have had more focus on him since he does become super important in the finale. And again, it's still funny to me how Baxter says the weapon is fascinating when we learn he has access to so much, yet had no idea about it. And, you know, he may have been kicked out of the server or whatever, but, like, he made the server. So, like, it doesn't make sense. And the fact that he says he doesn't care for engineering science, yet was able to build Vox's mainframe. But hands down, Nifty and Baxter were the best part of the season for me. Their dynamic is very sweet. Oh, also, I kind of wish Vox's mind control had more focus. Like, instead of the cast stopping the gun, which I know will lose out on Emily and Charlie saving sinners, but Vox using his mind control on the overlords and making them fight Charlie and Emily and the cast. Plus, it would be fun to have Vaggie re-fight Carmilla and use her to stop the gun at the same time. But having Vox utilize his followers would show his abilities as a cult leader and also show he still can't do anything himself, instead of just using it to control Angel and stun the crowd. Also, hands down, the V's shouldn't have gotten away, and Vox most definitely should have died or something, cause no. They don't just get to walk away. Anyway, this season was just really fast, and characters were just pulled left and right to make the dots connect, and while, yeah, I did have fun and the music was enjoyable, I'm still someone who prefers a strong story and world building, and again, we didn't get that, and obviously, don't get me wrong, I enjoy fast food like shows, but this show was never really advertised as fast food. Yeah, it would have its silly moments, but it was always meant to tackle what it means to be redeemed and more adult-like topics, and it tries so hard to do that. Like, we get primarily mainly fast food and then one smidge of like a 7-course meal. We get like the first part of the 7-course meal and then that's it. We don't get the rest of the meal. We go right back to the junk food, which is such a bummer since the idea of the show is still really good, but the constant instant gratification the show likes to do makes everything the characters try to go through hollow and one note. Anyway, other than Gravity and Live to Live and Baxter and Nifty, I had a much harder time with the overall story, and because I know y'all are gonna ask, yes, I will watch season 3, mainly because I want to see if the rumors about Lilith are true, so yeah, I will see you when it releases. Bye! I don't have much else to say.